Morning, guys. Welcome to June. We're going to start our last unit, which is organic chemistry. And what I decided to do in this unit is to go through some chemistry of poisons. I thought that would at least be a little bit more interesting than just naming different organic compounds. I hope everyone had a really awesome Memorial Week. We're getting back into business here. So the first slide that I have up on the presentation is the chemistry of cherries. I want you to take a look at it. And as we go through this next 2 weeks, you'll be looking at different poisons. But this caught my attention because I just ate an entire container of them. And I know that some of you might know this already, but these lovely little sweet cherries here have hydrogen cyanide in them. And hydrogen cyanide, there's that cyanide that's on your reference table. That's a poison. But the good news is we would have to eat a large number of them to see some toxic effects. Okay, so they give you the difference between, these are organic molecules. You see how big they are compared to what we've been talking about all year long. Organic molecules are ginormous, and sweet and sour cherries are slightly different. So you notice that there's the hydroxy group here and here that's the same, but they are different. Let's see where they're different. Here you have this methyl group coming off of the end, whereas over here you have two more rings. So you can see the structural formula is a little different in sweet and sour cherries. All right, in the next page I have chemistry of daffodils, and I was looking at those this weekend also, last week when I was up at my lake house. I showed you a video of the lake where I was happy. The chemistry of daffodils here, this beautiful yellow color comes from a compound that looks like this. Again, it's a organic compound. See how long and big this is? Every single one, let me see if I can zoom this in for you. Every single one of these points right here illustrates a carbon atom. And then there's two lines that illustrate a double covalent bond. And this single line is a single covalent bond. And you can see how these carbon molecules can make these awesome rings. Beta carotene, I don't know if anybody's ever heard of that before, but that gives carrots, oops, this is all crooked, I didn't make it straight for you. Carrots, the orange color, it also gives the color of these daffodils. Okay. Oh, I'm making two arrows here. Okay. They are also poisonous. I don't recommend eating a daffodil. Contains several poisonous alkaloid compounds. Remember we talked about alkalis and how they are toxic, including licorine. When these are ingested, they can cause vomiting and diarrhea. So I strongly suggest you don't eat any daffodils. They are pretty to look at though. Okay, whoops, I really didn't lock that in. All right, the next page, I know it's not holiday season, but these are also other deadly compounds. They are not as big as the other compounds we looked at, but you can see some similarities with the carbons being there. These have nitrogens in them and oxygens in them. You got mistletoe, you've got holly, you got cranberries. Okay. And then I also gave you a slide on the chemistry of mushrooms. Do not go into the woods and start picking out some mushrooms to make a salad with. Look at the complexity of this molecule. How cool is that? You might not think it's cool, but look, there's a sulfur in there too. Okay, that sulfur gives it a stinkiness. Let's see what we got going over here. Not as big, but you got some oxygens and hydrogens and some nitrogens. Okay, not as big. Quantity of toxin reduced by cooking, but still dangerous. Don't eat wild mushrooms. Okay, there's a picture of them. Poisonous mushrooms. And then we've got another poison over here with this panther cap mushroom. Okay. And then finally, I just put up this last slide here because I wanted you guys to know that most poisons or most poisonings happen in the home with dogs, cats, getting into things that they shouldn't, and children. So if you have younger siblings or nieces, nephews, or when you have children of your own, be really careful about what you leave around, because things that you wouldn't think to put in your mouth, they might, and it could be very toxic to them. One thing that just comes to mind right now that I'm thinking about is sugar-free gum. If you have sugar-free gum lying around and your pet gets it, there is a compound in sugar-free gum that artificial sweetener, and it is actually toxic to dogs and cats and can kill them very quickly. So be very careful with poisons. And I hope you enjoy just learning a little bit more about everyday poisons and some compounds and elements that are deadly. Okay, I'll talk to you again next week.